I was off YouTube for over a month. First holidays, then catching up, and my channel was in sleep mode. Convenient time, because today we'll be talking about ESP32 sleep modes. Interested? Stick around. In one of my previous videos where I was showing tips for working with ESP32, I touched on important subject: power consumption and sleep modes. I showed you how to use light sleep mode in a simple project where ESP32 was driving OLED display. We measured how much the power consumption goes down when switching from normal operation to light sleep mode and then to deep sleep mode. But this is just scratching the surface. This topic raises a lot of more questions. Are the light sleep and deep sleep the only options we have, or are there some states in between that we can use? And what about Wi-Fi, the bigger power consumer of them all? How much power can we actually save compared to Wi-Fi being constantly active? In my previous video, I use only timer as a method to wake ESP32 from sleep. But are there other methods to achieve that? As you can see, there is a lot to explore here, so let's get started. So for this video, we need a proper test setup. I will stick to a simple idea: an incrementing counter displayed on the OLED display, but with a twist. We'll use ESP32, but this time we'll not have an OLED attached. Instead, we'll use an ESP32C3 mini board with a built-in OLED running a web server. Here's how it will work. The ESP32, the transmitter, will run a simple web client. Every 10 seconds, it will increment the counter value, connect over Wi-Fi to the ESP32C3 web server, and send that value to it. To communicate with the server, we first need to obtain the IP address dynamically assigned to the ESP32C3 by the router. We do this by using local IP method. Once we have the IP address, we can construct the URL request used to send the counter values to the web server. The ESP32C3 will then receive that data and display the counter on the OLED screen, together with the timestamp at which that information was received. The cycle would repeat every 10 seconds. This setup lets us clearly observe what happens when Wi-Fi is being actively used all the time. And then we'll start applying different sleep modes and optimizations to see how much power we can actually save. Let's have a look at the code, starting with the transmitter. I will focus only on the most important parts of the sketch that are relevant to the topic. You can find the full listing in the description below. First, we need to define the IP address of the web server, which we obtained using the local IP method. Then we declare variables for measuring the time since the last transfer, which will help us create 10 seconds transfer intervals, as well as a counter variable. Both are initially set to 0. In the setup function, we start Wi-Fi using provided login credentials and then wait in a loop until Wi-Fi connection is established. In the loop function, we check whether 10 seconds have passed since the last transfer. If so, we update the last send variable with the current value of millis and increment the counter. If Wi-Fi is connected, we create an HTTP client and build the URL request using the web server IP and the update endpoint, appending the counter value converted to a string. Then we initiate the HTTP request, send a GET request to the server, print the HTTP response code to the serial monitor, and finally close the HTTP connection. So now let's have a look at the receiver. The receiver is designed to react to URL requests like this one. In this example, the value after the equals sign is passed to the receiver and can be processed by the ESP32. In the setup function, we first connect the ESP32 to the Wi-Fi network using the provided credentials. As with the transmitter, the code waits in a loop until the Wi-Fi connection has been successfully established. Next, we register a handler for the update endpoint. This means that whenever the ESP32 receives a request containing update, the handle update function will be executed. After that, we start the web server and perform the initial display update. The main work happens inside the handle update function. First, the code checks whether the request contains a parameter name value. If the parameter is present, its content is read from the URL, converted from text to an integer, and stored in the counter variable. Once the new value has been received, the display is refreshed, so the updated counter value becomes visible immediately. Finally, the ESP32 sends an HTTP response back to the transmitter with a status code 200, indicating that the request was processed successfully, along with the simple OK message. So the hardware setup is quite straightforward. We have two microcontrollers, one with a built-in OLED display, which acts as a receiver, and another one with no external components attached, which acts as a transmitter. Our goal is to measure the current consumption of the transmitter while it operates in different power states, including various sleep modes of the ESP32. To perform these measurements, we need to introduce a multimeter into the circuit. The microcontroller will be powered from the breadboard power supply, which is connected to the 9-volt power adapter. The breadboard power supply regulates the voltage down to 5 volts, allowing us to power the ESP32 by connecting the 5-volt output to its VIN pin. To measure the current drawn by the circuit, the multimeter must be connected in series with the microcontroller. We connect the red probe of the multimeter to the positive output of the power supply, and then a black probe to the VIN pin of the ESP32. Finally, we complete the circuit by connecting the ground of the power supply to the ground of the microcontroller. The last thing we need to add is the ESP32C3 serving as a receiver. With everything connected, we are ready to measure the power consumption of the transmitter and establish a baseline before enabling any of the ESP32 sleep modes. Alright, so let's take this circuit for a spin. First, we'll verify that the code is working correctly, that the counter values are being transmitted to the receiver as expected. And as you can see, everything works fine. Now let's see how much current a setup like this draws. It requires about 140 to 150 milliamps. So if we compare that to measurements from the ESP tips video, you will see that the project without Wi-Fi consumes around 60 milliamps, so Wi-Fi connectivity easily doubles the power consumption. Now it's time to look at the power saving features. In my ESP32 tips video, I already introduced two sleep modes available on the ESP32, light sleep and deep sleep. However, we are going to start with something different, a third option that is much easier to implement and can provide a quick win when it comes to reducing power consumption in Wi-Fi enabled projects. That option is Modem Sleep mode. When Wi-Fi is used without any power-saving features enabled, the ESP32 keeps its Wi-Fi radio active all the time, continuously listening for incoming packets. While this provides a faster response times, it also has a significant impact on power consumption. With Modem Sleep mode enabled, the ESP32 periodically puts the Wi-Fi radio to sleep between communication events. It wakes up to receive the router beacon frames, processes any incoming or outgoing network traffic, and then returns the radio to sleep. This all happens automatically, so there is no need to manage wake-up events in your code. Enabling this mode is extremely simple. In the setup function, we only need to add a single line of code. That's it. So that's the theory. But what effect does this actually have on power consumption in a real-world application? Let's enable Modem Sleep mode and find out. So this is great. We have actually cut the power consumption in half. The change is seamless and runs right in the background without interrupting the main loop. So you should always consider activating Modem Sleep mode for your IoT projects. So let's now look at the light sleep mode. Light sleep mode is a suspended state where the chip can wake up almost instantly because nothing is fully powered down. Here's what's happening under the hood. The main CPU stays on, but drops to a low frequency idle. Your RAM remains completely powered, so your entire application state is retained. No boot required. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are shut off. or set to brief listen intervals, and most peripherals are simply suspended, not fully killed. To maintain this fast wake capability, specific hardware remains active. This includes the RTC controller, slow memory, and the RTC I/O subsystem, allowing touch sensors and GPIOs to trigger wake events. The wake-up logic, power management unit, and the light sleep clock domain stays operational, keeping the chip ready to resume full execution in microseconds. So how do we activate the light sleep in our code? Here is the loop function of our transmitter. To enter light sleep, we only need 2 additional lines of code. First, we define the wake-up source for the microcontroller. For now, we will only use a timer as a wake-up source. The timer value is specified in microseconds. We want the ESP to sleep for 10 seconds. Since there are 1 million microseconds in the second, we calculate 10 times 1 million and we get 10 million microseconds. The ULL suffix stands for unsigned long data type. It tells the compiler to treat the number as a 64-bit unsigned integer. This is important because the wake-up timer function expects a 64-bit value, allowing it to safely represent large time intervals without overflow. With this approach, we can remove any manual delay-based logic that previously ensured the operation occurred every 10 seconds. The wake-up timer now handles the timing automatically. Next, we call the function that actually puts ESP32 into light sleep. At this point, the CPU pauses execution and power consumption is reduced. After the timer expires, ESP32 wakes up and resumes execution from the next line of code after the sleep call. Let's revisit our project circuit with the updated code and power it up. The first counter value is transferred successfully, and immediately afterwards the ESP32 enters light sleep mode. You can see the power consumption drop to around 10 milliamps. The moment it wakes up, the current clearly spikes to around 140 milliamps on the meter. But now take a look at the receiver. The counter values are no longer being transferred. Let's leave it running for a few more cycles. And unfortunately, we received just one counter value out of many. I tried several tweaks to fix the issue, including adding delays in various sections of the code to give the module more time to reinitialize properly. I also disabled Modem Sleep mode, but the result remained the same. At this point, I haven't found a reliable way to make light sleep work in this particular setup. If you have any ideas on what I might be missing, I would love to hear your suggestions. Please let me know in the comments what you would try next and how you would approach solving this problem. So for now, I need to rate this use of sleep mode in IoT project as a failure. This mode is still a great option for projects that don't rely on Wi-Fi, where you can reduce power consumption to around 10 milliamps in between activities. With that small light sleep mode hiccup out of the way, let's move to the deep sleep mode, which seems to be ideal solution for this particular scenario. During deep sleep, the ESP enters its lower power state by shutting down almost the entire chip. The main CPU is powered off. RAM is lost unless specifically retained, and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are completely disabled. Most peripherals and high-speed clocks are also turned off. However, a few critical components remain active. The RTC or real-time clock domain stays powered to keep track of time and manage wake-up events. RTC memory can also remain powered, allowing small amounts of data to be preserved while the device sleeps. Depending on the configuration, wake-up sources such as RTC timers, external GPIO signals, touch sensors, or the ultra-low power ULP coprocessors can remain active. When a wake-up event occurs, the ESP32 performs a full reboot rather than resuming where it left off. This longer wake-up time is the trade-off for achieving extremely low power consumption, often in the range of just few microamps. Deep sleep is ideal for battery-powered IoT devices that spend most of their time waiting between measurements or transmissions. The commands to activate deep sleep are very similar to those used for light sleep, but in addition to them, we need to make some fundamental changes to our code. Again, we can remove the lines that ensured the operation occurred every 10 seconds. As we discussed earlier, a full reboot is involved when using deep sleep, so each time the device wakes up, it executes the setup function from the beginning. Since after transmitting data to the receiver we plan to immediately go back to sleep, there is no point of performing any activities inside the loop. Therefore, the entire block of code can be moved into setup. After transmitting the current value of the counter variable, we can set the wake-up timer. For this test, I have set it to 20 seconds. We then start deep sleep mode. We can also add 2 more lines which are not strictly required, but they help cleanly disable the RF transceiver before the microcontroller shuts down. There is one more thing we need to address. With the current setup, after every reboot, the counter variable is initialized to 0. Since waking up from deep sleep effectively restarts the sketch, the counter value would be reset to 0 each time. This is a major issue when you use deep sleep because normal variable values are not retained. Fortunately, there is a way to fix it. We can declare the counter variable using this attribute. This stores the variable in the RTC memory, allowing its value to be retained during deep sleep cycles. Let's update the code accordingly, and we are ready to test it. The code is already loaded, so let's power up the circuit. The value of 1 is immediately transferred, the microcontroller goes offline, and the power consumption drops below 10 mA to around 5 mA to be more precise. After 20 seconds, you can see the current spikes to around 100 mA. The actual peak is likely higher, but because it occurs so quickly, the multimeter is probably unable to capture it accurately. Based on the initial benchmark, the peak current should be around 150 mA. The important question is whether the Wi-Fi transmission will work this time. And it does. Let's run a few more cycles and check whether we lose any transmitted values. We don't. It seems to work correctly every time. Let's do a quick summary. During Wi-Fi activity, all configurations draw roughly 140 to 150 mA. The difference appears during the idle period between transmissions. Without any power-saving features, ESP continuously consumes around 140 to 150 mA, and it is reliable as long as the device is within Wi-Fi range. Modem Sleep reduces that to approximately 60 mA and remains reliable. Light Sleep brings consumption down to around 10 mA, but in this setup, Wi-Fi reconnection is less reliable and may require additional handling. Deep Sleep delivers the greatest savings, reducing power consumption to less than 5 mA between transmissions, and it is also reliable as long as the device reconnects properly after each wake-up. For battery-powered IoT projects that transmit periodically, Deep Sleep offers the best balance between power efficiency and overall reliability. Time to wrap up. This video is already quite long. We didn't have time to cover wake-up options. We will save that topic for the part 2 of this tutorial. Thanks for being here. I hope you find all this information useful. Don't forget to like and share this video. Subscribe if you want to see a similar content like this in the future. On the screen now you see the list of people that have chosen to support this channel either through channel membership, PayPal, Patreon or Ko-fi. Thank you all for your support. You're more than welcome to join this group at any time. And don't forget about part 2 of this tutorial. You can click the bell icon to get notified as soon as it becomes available. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao.